Okay, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Invite our illustrious Cub Scout Pack 7 to lead the pledge. At your command, we'll start.
To the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We just want to say our names and
Yes.
which school we're from.
Please.
Welcome. Hi. Hi.
And leaders, why don't you
So
introduce?
we are Pack 7. We meet the first Monday of every month at the Nature Center. So we appreciate the Nature Center letting us be there, and it's a town asset, and we're using it, and we appreciate it, and they've been great. So
Great.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for being here, guys. It's an honor for us that you're here, and thank you for joining and being a part of the community, because it's a special one. And thanks to the dads here who are stepping up and leading their time. Eric, anything special, considering this is part of your lineage?
Well, I was a Cub Scout for 3 years and then a Boy Scout for 7, and so and I'm still associated with Troop 70. But nice to see you all here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you all.
Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, today is Wednesday, May 15th. We are here for the Town of New Canaan Town Council Town Hall meeting. We've had the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll now move forward with the roll call.
Rita Bettino.
Here.
Tom Butterworth. Tom.
He's here.
You're on mute.
He's here. He's here.
Janet Fons. Luke Kaufman.
Here.
Mike Morrow.
Here.
Maria Norton.
Here.
Kimberly Norton.
Here.
Hillary Orman.
Here.
Online? Okay. Christina Ross here. Eric Coonan.
Here.
Penny Young.
Here.
Jennifer Zonas. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Jen's on her phone, so she's on.
We have a quorum.
She's attending by phone. Sorry
Yes.
about that. Okay, great. Okay, we'll now call the meeting to order. We'll now move forward to our item number 2 on the agenda, the minutes. Approval of the minutes for the following meetings held on, and I'll just read out for the record, Feb 14, 2024 was a special meeting, Feb 28, 2024, special meeting, March 14, 2024, regular meeting, March 19, 2024, regular meeting, March 21, 2024, regular meeting, March 28, 2024, special meeting, April 2nd, 2024, regular meeting, April 23, 2024, special meeting. Can we have a motion?
Maria?
Tim made the motion. Have a second? Okay. Do we have any discussion about the meeting minutes?
Maria?
Second.
Having no discussion, we'll now move to approve the meeting minutes as set forth a moment ago. All in favor?
Actually, all the amendments that were on, you know what I sent you, these incorporated as amendments. The minutes that are posted, these are all the comments and amendments that were suggested through, you know?
Right.
So if you just want to say as opposed and then.
Yeah, sure. Let's. Okay, so let's make sure the motion is clear then. Okay, so we need someone to make a motion to approve the following minutes as amended. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right, so Kim again. We have a second?
Maria?
Maria? Discussion? All in favor? Motion passes.
Are you voting?
Okay. Unanimous vote. Okay. Moving on to item agenda number 3, public comments. Members of the public are welcome to speak to the town council on agenda topics scheduled for review and/or vote. Speakers are requested to provide their name and street address, and comments will be limited to 2 to 3 minutes, subject to the total number of speakers. No one is in the gallery. Is there anybody online? No one in Zoom. Okay. Moving forward to item agenda number 4, financial update. Update on recent financial results, 10 minutes. Josh Kaufman.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I will share on my screen right now, which hopefully you can see. I'll try to zoom in as much as possible, but you should have this on your tablets as well. And I'm just going to run through the year-to-date financials as of April 30th, 2024. So kind of nearing the end of fiscal year 24. So starting at the top on the revenue side, the overall revenue is at 100.28%, about 450,000 to the good, on par pretty much with where we were at last year. That, of course, is led by, at the top, tax collections are at 101.04%, or 1.5-ish million over the 150 million budgeted. Slower than last year's pace a little bit by about 200,000, but it's ticking up every month by about 150,000 or so. Down to building permits, we're at about 90% of what was budgeted. We're hitting about 100,000 per year, per month. So we're kind of expecting to hit that or exceed slightly that 850,000, what was budgeted. Pretty much on pace with where we were at last year, off by about 11,000. Conveyance fees are short of last year, but they're at 79%, with about 300,000 left to go. We're doing right now month to month. We're coming into the kind of stronger season for conveyance fees. We're at about 120,000 or so per month, hopefully ramping up more than that, and it'll be pretty close to if we'll hit that target. On to parking, we're at 77%. I know there's about 35,000 left, at least at the time this report was produced. There's about an additional 35,000 on top of that for April, so that pushes us beyond the 80% mark. And it's actually pretty close to being on pace with last year. Interest on investments are at 1.3 million of the 900,000, or about 144%. Obviously, that's been kind of one of our strongest like front runners for this year in terms of revenue. So we're kind of trying to see where that's going to end up in the next couple months. Tipping is down a little bit, 66%, trailing last year by about 50,000. Any questions on the revenue side of this?
Any questions, anybody? Having none, you can keep moving.
Okay. So just overall expenditures are at 78.2. Last year was at about 78.7. So it's pretty much on pace with that. Right now we're kind of in the process of analyzing. Yes.
Josh, you need to scroll.
Oh, sorry. Terribly sorry. There we are. There's a lot of departments here, but yep. So we're at about 78.2%. It's pretty much on pace with where we were at last year. Right now we're kind of going through the exercise of sending out these performance reports to departments and getting their kind of projections out for the rest of the fiscal year, so we can kind of get a better sense of where we're gonna end up in early June when the Board of Finance kind of reanalyzes all of this when setting the mill rate. Any questions on this, on the expenditure side or in general?
Any questions? No? Okay.
Okay.
You have a question?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No,
Continue,
just
please, Josh. Thank you.
We're done.
No, that's it.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Okay. I can keep going on if you'd like, but
We're rushing them along.
Yeah, no, thank you, Josh. That was
all
fine.
Right.
If there are no questions, then we don't need to continue on. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
No other questions for Josh. Then we will now move forward to item agenda number 5, the Playhouse Theater project update. Tiger Man, who is zooming in.
I will recuse myself from this discussion, even though I'm not there and on video.
Okay, thanks, Hillary. Tiger, the floor is yours.
All right, so thank you very much. So for the Playhouse,
Recuse himself, Eric.
Eric.
Okay, so,
Yeah, I know it very well.
so thanks for having us. So, work is proceeding nicely. Spoke to Glenn, from Alden Bailey just a little while ago. And he's pleased with the process so far, or the production so far. So for theater 1 and 2, the soundproofing has been completed. For theater 1, the flooring is installed, and theater 2, the flooring is being installed. And then for theater 1, the screen has been installed. It's a very interesting screen. I think I won't give up any secrets, but I think everyone will really like it when they sit down and watch a movie. And then the theater 2, the screen is being installed at present. They got about 1 to 2 days left. That contractor's been working 7 days a week to get everything done, and then he should be out of the way. One of the bathrooms, the flooring has been installed and the fixtures are installed, and all that is waiting is some of the smaller fixtures, the toilet paper, accessories, things of that nature, and then the partitions. And the second bathroom, the flooring is nearly installed, and then the fixtures will follow, and then the partitions as well. The concession floor has been installed. The concession area, the bar itself, will be placed soon. And then in the bar, the bar has been placed. The back bar has not yet, and then they'll be working on the flooring shortly. Upstairs, the trim is done. The painting is done. We're waiting for that bar to be delivered. It was supposed to be delivered today. The subcontractor was unhappy with the finish of the bar itself, didn't feel that it rose to their standards, which we appreciate. So they wanted to resand it, refinish it, and they're hoping to bring it in tomorrow sometime, and then we'll start that installation there. Excuse me, the stairwells, the trim is done, and the painting is done as well. The HVAC is nearing completion. We're waiting on 2 fans, 2 ceiling fans that'll be in the roof. The entire lot of fans for this was recalled by the company, and everyone is scrambling to find fans of this nature. We feel that we'll be able to get some before the end of before the due date, and we are looking at alternatives if we can't. And then the plumbing is proceeding, as I mentioned, and once the HVAC is complete, then the plumbing will come in earnest. So all in all, it's looking quite well. The front doors were shipped. The unfortunate thing is that the hardware for the front doors didn't ship as well, so it wasn't available. So that's going to be slightly delayed, but at least we'll have the doors. We can install the doors, and then the hardware should be here. It'll be shipping on June 11th, and we're trying to see if we can expedite that. But that was one of the stumbling blocks we had prior, which was that the doors were going to be shipped on the 1st and hopefully be here by the 11th, but they've shipped already, and we should have them prior to the 1st and be able to install them, albeit one set of the hardware, the exit hardware did not ship as well. So, but as I mentioned, all in all, progress is going forward. They're working 6 to 7 days a week, and they're aware of the June 21st deadline, and they're working diligently towards that. And CinemaLab on their side is starting to work on some of their ideas for an opening, and they'll come forward to the police commission for some ideas at that point in time, and then we'll understand what the unveiling will be. I don't know if you have any questions. If so.
Anybody have any questions? Maria, please.
Yes, I was at Cafe Dolce the other day, my new favorite coffee place across the street, and I just looked over, and I'm just wondering, when will the facade kind of look? It looks a little sad. When's that starting or finishing?
So there's work to be done on both. If you're talking both of the white areas, the window areas, there's work still to be performed on those itself. And then we have the sign itself is out for refurbishing, if you will. And that's going to be completely refurbished with new lights, and that'll come back into place as well. But that'll be a little bit, the sign will be here, and then the windows and trim will be done, but they're concentrating on the inside, and then they'll work towards the outside.
That'll be good. The people I was with were like, what's going on? So just passing that on.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a mystery, I guess.
Any other questions for Tiger on this update?
Is there an official opening day?
We don't have an official opening day. We are shooting for June 21st. That's our goal. And then the opening will be, that's Cinema Labs portion of it. And I know that they're working diligently on a grand opening, if you will. And they'll start to unveil their ideas shortly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Tiger on this topic? Nope. Okay, thank you, Tiger. We'll move forward to item agenda number 6, the Waveney House renovation project update. This is a review of proposed construction projects at Waveney House. Tiger is the presenter. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you. So I had a meeting this morning with Alden Bailey, John Howe, and Bill Osman concerning the project. So right now, the bathroom is nearly complete. There's a couple of punch list items that are to go, and then we'll be installing a rug and some additional stairs and carpeting in the upstairs. And then we've got to put in some signage for to designate both bathrooms and one door closure. But as far as the elevator, the contractor will be coming in shortly to he has to do some probes from the ceiling, from the attic, I should say, into the interstitial space between the attic and the first floor in order to be able to see into that area to then finalize the design on the shaft and the elevator, and then the elevator will go into production. It's about a 32-week lead time on the elevator itself. The contractor will be returning January 1, just after January 1. We'll be shutting the house down at that time from January to mid-March at present for that. And he'll come in, put in the shaft, have the shaft ready to go, and then we'll receive the elevator, and the elevator will be installed once it's received. During that time frame, he will also be taking the men's bathroom out of service. The men's bathroom is just off of the kitchen, and that will be converted into a family ADA bathroom with a changing table. Excuse me, and that'll take about a month during that time frame as well, and that will become an accessible bathroom on the first floor for us, because we'll be losing that bathroom underneath the stairs once we insert the elevator into the area between in the surround of the grand staircase. We'll lose that bathroom that's underneath the staircase, and that will become a storage area for us. And then on the front of the repointing project that we have, we went to look for another opinion and of views as to how to stop the water intrusion into the building. We feel we have a very good plan for that. It's gone out to bid. We had several people bid on it, and we're ready to award that, given a positive review from a second company to come out, Hoffman Architects, to come out and take a look at the structure. We're having them take a look at Waveney and at Lapham, since we're having some water intrusion problems at Lapham, specifically around the chimneys. I spoke to Hoffman today. Hoffman will be, they've assigned a project engineer. Unfortunately, she was out of the office today, so I'll be speaking to her tomorrow. And they and their contractor are ready to come in, do an analysis of the envelope of the building, and then give us their opinion as to what needs to go forward as far as assistance in stopping the water intrusion. They'll be reviewing the plan set that we had out to bid. We think it's a very thorough plan set. We're hoping for positive review on that, some additional recommendations as to other measures that they might recommend. Hoffman did a very nice job for us on the police department prior to the reconstruction there, to determine that the exterior of the building was sound, and waterproof, and they gave us some direction as to how to solve some of the issues we were having from water intrusion into the basement of the police department at that time. So we're very confident that they'll give us another very good review and report for Waveney House. I don't know if you have any questions on either front.
Tom has his hand up.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, good, thank you. So Tiger, you say you have a plan in place with Hoffman. You're just looking for confirmation?
We have some areas of concern that were not addressed in the original plan. We're having water intrusion in other areas that were not addressed in the original plan. So we're asking for some additional insight from them to take a look at those areas and give us some of their ideas as to how to stop that water as well.
Are you thinking that, I'm just raising this as to test the scenario so I understand it. Are you thinking we're going to have to repoint the entire exterior brick surface of the mansion?
That wasn't their opinion at the time. No, they felt that a lot of the masonry was sound, if you will, but there were specific areas of concern where we were having water problems into the building that they would be addressing. But the overall look as to all of the masonry, that on their look, on the previous look from the previous engineer, architect, and from the initial walkthrough with Hoffman, that was not a concern at present, was to have to repoint the entire building. It was more specific areas of concern.
And you think there's alignment between the interior water damage and the exterior surface, looking at it from the outside, you sort of, in other words, you know where to repoint?
There are certain areas you can definitely see areas of where where some of the lintels above the windows are actually being pushed out and are out an inch or so. And you can see that there's a gap on the top of that lintel, and we know, and then inside we're seeing a problem. The reason we brought Hoffman in is because there are other areas that we're starting to get water in that are not evident, from the exterior. So we're asking them to come in with a professional eye to help us assess those areas.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question. Tiger, this is Kim Norton. Is it something new that you're detecting is my first question. And how long do you think this has been happening? And then the other question is, does it have anything to do with the roof? As I know a new roof was put on.
Right. So 3 questions there, I guess. So we're having water into areas where we haven't had it prior. So that's our main concern, is to have them come in and try to help us address those areas. Our plan set was devised to take care of the areas that we were aware of, but subsequent to that, in the recent past, we've been seeing areas where we haven't had water before, and then a larger volume of water itself in some of the previous concerned areas. And then lastly, it was their opinion that no, the roof wasn't a concern, that the roof was installed well, but we are asking them to take a look at that. The selectmen actually asked that as part of the approval of the proposal with Hoffman, was to have them come up and give a look. Their engineers and architects will be on a lift, working around the building from a lift, and it's our opinion that from the lift they can actually come up and take a look at the roof and see if there's any issues on the roof.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions on this topic? Anybody satisfied? Okay. No other questions. We'll move on to item agenda number 7, independent accounting firm. And I'll just read this out for the record. In accordance with the Audit Committee Ordinance 62-5B, the members of the Audit Committee, acting as an ad hoc committee along with the first selectman and the chairman of the town council, recommend to the town council the approval of the engagement of PKF O'Connor Davies as the town of New Canaan's independent accounting firm to include the annual audit for the year ended June 30, 2024. The base fee for the audit services is $108,600. Additional fees for services beyond the annual audit scope will be negotiated separately. Ann?
So we'll just give a quick one on, we went out to bid and we received,
pull the mic closer.
We went out to bid earlier this year, received 2 bids CLA and PKF. We interviewed both of them on April 16th, and PKF was the winning one with the committee, mainly due to the turnover in the audit committee. There's 4 new members, and it's a new process. So to keep that continuity going with auditors that know the town, as opposed to everybody being brand new. But they were 2 very good firms, but we kept with PKF.
Can you share what the other bid was? I'm just curious.
CLA?
Yeah, the amount.
Oh, sorry, I didn't have it on me right now.
Okay,
yeah,
just
it was slightly higher. Yeah, it was higher.
Oh, thank you.
But 2 very good firms.
Question, was PKF the firm that has been working with the town?
Correct.
All along?
Yes.
And how long have they been working with the town?
I believe since possibly 2013 or so. I'm not sure, 10 years. They changed partners 2 years ago. It used to be Joe Santafonte was the main partner. Now it's Catherine Patnod. So they have changed up who's actually doing. And before that, I think with Joe, it was Marsha.
Yes, it was Marsha.
Yep.
Marsha Davis, maybe.
Oh, that's it. So now we have a different partner.
Okay, having a different partner, does that comply with the statutes in terms of having to change audit firms every so many years?
There's no statute that regulates the partners within the firm.
No, but different firms, does that comply with the statute if we change partners rather than firms?
Yeah, there's no, I guess I'm not understanding it. You're saying the law, state law in terms of.
There's a statute that requires that every so many, I believe it's every 5 years, to change audit firms. I can send you the statute.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that in terms of that.
Okay, I guess neither was the audit committee, but.
No, I mean, because a lot of firms, a lot of the state had been under Bloom Shapiro for decades. And that was a state, when they talk about the state list, that was a state bid audit firm that a lot of towns went under. Okay. So I wasn't aware that they changed the policy or the statute in terms of that.
I believe that is accommodated by changing the principal, which is reviewed within a 5-year period.
I'll look into that.
So it's not the same people looking at your audit every single year. You change the principals, so that's new eyes. Might be the same firm, but different, new team.
Okay. Yeah, it is a new team.
Because this is, and Ann pointed this out. So we were fortunate to get 2 bids. We're one of very few towns that got 2 bids. Most towns, when they've been going out to bid recently, have only been getting their incumbent firm to bid on their work. So I'm not sure that many towns could even comply, because you know the whole industry is
it's changing. There's staffing problems. The generation doing it, keeping the staff in place. To Deanna's point too, last year, and I think I mentioned this before, New Canaan was only one of 49 towns that filed by December 31st. And the state has now gotten involved with trying to get audits done, because some are still not done, and it puts them into a tier 1 if they're not done by June. So the state's now coming out with guidelines on top of what the auditing firms are doing as well, because they're trying to push, because there's a difficulty on both sides, staffing on the town sides and staffing on the audit side.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And, I have 2 questions. One is, what has been our business with PKF O'Connor Davies to date? I'm not aware of the scope of the town of New Canaan's business with PKF O'Connor Davies.
They've been our external auditors.
They've been the external auditor.
External, and they've done, over the years, they've done smaller, as been asked. If the audit committee had asked for a smaller, different audit they wanted to look at, the audit committee members would engage with that.
And there's no conflict issue with having the same firm doing your external auditing and your internal audit?
They're not. We went out for 2 different bids. We went out for external and internal. My understanding is the internal audit hasn't been done really in 7+ years. So there's different firms coming up with that one. There's different, we received 6 on that. So that's not before this board yet.
The internal is still under discussion and negotiation right now.
But it won't be PKF.
This is just external.
This is just external.
Just external. Yeah, there's a time, it's time sensitive because it has to be reported to the state by June 1st that we have an audit team in place.
Forgive my ignorance. The other question is a specific one under fees and billing. There are two items listed: education-audit, $44,800, and education-EFS, $8,500. Can you just explain to me what those are?
So the Board of Ed has a report that they have to send to the state by August 31st, September 1st of every year after their audit time period. They have 2 months to get that report. It's called the ESF, it's the Electronic Financial System, I think it is. They have to get that up there. That is actually audited by the auditors in addition to the typical audit. They then audit the this report that goes up to the state because the state wants a clean opinion on that report. And it is very lengthy and very difficult process to get that report.
It wasn't clear to me whether or not that was educational services provided to members of the town in order to understand all this.
It's a report that the Board of Ed's required.
Thank you. Thank
you. Hillary Orman has her hand up.
Hillary.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Christina, could you just provide that the statute that you're asking about so I can take a quick look?
Yeah, I will.
What is it?
She's asking if you have it now.
I don't have it now, no.
Okay. If you could circulate that as soon as you have it. But I'm just not finding anything. I'm trying to do a search.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so any other questions? Let's move this along. Very good. Okay, all in favor? Well, let's make the motion here. How do we phrase this motion? I guess approval. We'll say, okay, well, let's have a motion for the approval for the engagement of PKF O'Connor Davies as the Town of New Canaan's independent accounting firm to include the annual audit for the year ended June 30, 2024. The base fee for the audit services is $108,600. Additional fees for services beyond the annual audit scope will be negotiated separately. Can we have a motion?
So moved.
Eric, second.
Second.
Jennifer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item agenda number 8, committee reports. I know we're just coming out of our budget season, so I'm not expecting everyone to have reports, but to the extent that people are prepared, please give a report. So we'll start with bylaws and ordinances. Tom Butterworth and Hillary Ormond.
Yeah, so we're scheduling a June 1st meeting. I think that's the date, right, Hillary?
No,
June 5th.
June 5th.
5. Thank you. Yeah, I'm in Arizona. I just don't quite have all my ducks in a row here. But anyway, that's the scheduled date in which Deanna Carlson and Tiger Man will present a proposal to shift the burden of plowing public sidewalks to adjacent landowners. And that'll be, I think, an educational process. There are a number of interesting issues that come up. And so we invite everybody to come to that meeting, although there will be technically a meeting of Bylaws and Ordinances Committee. There are a couple of other things in the works, so we'll be reaching out to schedule additional meetings in the near future.
Okay, any questions on what Tom said? Anything else from your committee, Tom? Is that it?
Well, yeah, that's the only meeting that we have scheduled right now.
Perfect. Okay, love it. Okay, so nothing else from bylaws and ordinances. We'll move on to education. Maria Naughton and Rita Bettino.
All right, I'll give you a little update, just things that I feel like impact finance or policy changes that might affect the town council. So they're 9 months into their budget. Their expense actual 69.7 million, which is 67.6% of the budget. The school lunch is that program's doing well, and the money from that will be used to buy equipment. And they have a gain on facility rentals, so I thought those were important things for us to hear. Facilities committee's looking at capacity issues, so I think that's something to stay tuned to. They're looking at some policy changes on the school resource officer and also a policy on increasing educator diversity. So nothing's out yet, so we'll wait for that. They had the big grand opening for the dome. I don't know if anyone got to go. Unfortunately, I couldn't. So I'm sure it was amazing. Also, they're working on putting in the new sign that we had approved. There was another sign that was mentioned at the meetings, an LED sign at the corner of Farm Road and South, which I thought was an idea that I think it did come to planning and zoning. It wasn't, the application was withdrawn. However, the Board of Ed seems to be discussing that again. They had seen a demo. So I think that's something to be aware of, because I know at the time it didn't get a lot of positive feedback. There were like 23 comments and they were all negative on the New Canaan article. So I just think that's something, I don't know what the process is. I believe it will have to go to planning and zoning and then probably come to town council. Right, okay. So, but I thought that went away. So apparently it's back. So let's.
We also had some emails about it too. Yeah. Against it.
And that's it.
Okay, very good. Moving on to finance and government, Eric and Hillary.
I don't have anything to report.
Nor do I.
Have anything?
No.
Enough. Health and Human Services, Kim and Janet. Oh, sorry.
Sure. So this is Mental Health Awareness Month, which is something that the town's putting an effort into making people aware of different programs. There was a program on Monday at Waveney. There's also a new website that's been launched called New Canaan Behavioral Health Alliance site. And that is a combined effort between New Canaan Health and Human Services, the New Canaan Community Foundation and Silver Hill Hospital, as well as 30 local agencies. So what it's really meant to do is to help people connect with providers in the community. And one of the things I just wanted to point out is when people go for referrals, this is something that I've been hearing, there's a lot of referrals self-pay, so people that have to pay out of pocket. And I'm hoping that one of the things that can be focused on in this is if people want to use their insurance, there's another process that they kind of have to go through that's a little bit more complicated. So that's an important thing to address. Other than that, there's 9 commissioners on the Health and Human Services Commission, and each of them is now taking a nonprofit agency that we have paid grant money to, and they're going to adopt an agency in addition to Bethany Zaro overseeing those agencies as a way to kind of keep track of what they're doing, and when we get to budget season, be able to add their input in terms of the effectiveness of those particular organizations like Get About, New Canaan Cares, Domestic Violence Group, and things like that. So that's it.
Excellent resource for sure. Okay, infrastructure and utilities, Christina and Rita, anything?
I don't have any updates at this point. Rita, do you have anything?
I mean, the only thing that I really have is that, hey, they've started work on the west parking lot at Waveney, which is very exciting.
Oh, lovely. Okay, excellent. Land use, recreation, and conservation, Penny and Jennifer.
Just briefly, you probably all know this, but Banco Pool opens Memorial Day. They seem to be up to speed, almost hired all the lifeguards that they need, and the passes are available online. And in terms of conservation, Robin Bates Mason just asked that I make sure that you all know about September 8th is going to be the centennial for celebration for Bristow Park. So put September 8th on your calendars because they have a nice program planned, and there's going to be a famous birder and speaker, David Sibley will be speaking, but there's going to be music and things. So make sure if you're in town, September 8th at 2 p.m. Bristow.
Okay, great. Public safety, me and Hillary. I have a couple of points, Hillary. Do you have anything? Okay, so on
Mike, can you just, I'll do affordable housing after we do this public safety.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So on public safety, the police building is moving along as planned. They are within budget, well within their contingency. They are in a process of, there was one or two small items that popped up that have been fixed. There was an issue with some of the pillars that had to be reset, and they're in the process of being cured. There was an issue with some of the windows that were sent for installation. They weren't storm grade, so they had to be replaced at the vendor's expense and not ours. But Turner is on top of the construction schedule and moving along in a very orderly fashion. The second floor is actually being wrapped now in the sheetrock, which is a good sign. The construction should be done sometime in February or March of 2025, and potential move-in sometime in the fall of 2025 timeframe. So, trying to keep it to an 18-month project from beginning to end, and it's moving along, and it's within its budget right now. So. But like I said, it's a real well run operation with that construction. The other issue, and I spoke with the chief and his deputy chief regarding the issue of the graffiti in the town, to continue to raise public awareness of. Well, let me back up. The police department is moving along aggressively in that investigation regarding the graffiti in town. They've had dedicated an officer to essentially crunch data on the tags that we're seeing and the locations. They've crunched it down to 3 tags that are essentially being utilized. It's being cross-checked with regional law enforcement and their databases to determine if there's a pattern, if it's who it may be linked to, or whether it's a group they don't believe has any connection to any out-of-town gang or anything like that. They believe it's unique and local to New Canaan, potentially someone on the younger side. There's been engagement between the police department and the schools trying to figure out whether to cast a wide net, meaning to get information to see if anyone recognizes these tags, if anyone has any information to provide it. I believe there's some type of a reward being offered. There's contact with local companies in town that sell spray paint to see if there's a way to kind of reverse engineer, who's purchasing it and try to find out maybe that way if it provides some type of a lead. So there's multiple kind of tentacles to the investigation. They are pushing hard to try to determine who's doing it and to stop it. So to the extent that the community can keep an eye out and report anything that they believe may be helpful, the police is asking for community participation and help. So that's what I have on that.
Mike, can I ask a question? Is there any discussion with them if they identify someone and that person's a minor, of how like, is it community service going to be the punishment? Like, is there any conversation beyond that, like how they handle it if it's a minor? Or
yeah, I mean, I haven't had that discussion. I mean, I could just tell you, having some experience with that, the penalties for minors are different than adults. We don't know if it's necessarily a minor. Could be, there are other instances where they've been in trouble with the law that would be taken into account in terms of the severity of the punishments. So it really could kind of be left up to the prosecutors. The police will just go on ahead and make their arrest. And,
Rita Bettino has her hand up.
Rita, I thought someone said Hillary. But okay. No, Rita, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a separate comment, and it's about another issue that has been raised quite a bit. It's been raised a lot in New Canaan Moms. I've seen it. People have talked to me about it, but it's electric scooters and the kids that are terrorizing the streets on their electric scooters and it causing really a public safety hazard. And the reason I'm bringing it up is is there like a I don't know if there's like a bylaws and ordinance type of application here. Is that, this isn't something that we needed to worry about 20 years ago, so not something that we would have considered, but is there any thought that we need something, or that maybe the police is taking care of it and that's fine? I know that it's a big concern, and I'm worried that someone's going to get hurt. And I just didn't know if that was something we could address here, or like if that's our
I would suspect, it's a great point. I suspect there isn't probably a bylaw or ordinance involved, but I think that in the existing kind of penal code that we have, there'd be sufficient ability to, figure out which penal code, which statute is involved and have particular enforcement. I think probably the best thing to do is raise it directly with the police, get it on their agenda for a commission meeting, and have them talk. I mean, plus Chief DeFederico and his deputies are always, I mean, they're willing to take a call from any one of us at any time on any issue we have. So I would raise it directly.
I think one of the challenges is that there are different gradations of electric vehicles, and these scooters apparently qualify as the highest speed allowable, which is up to 28 miles per hour. The challenge, as you rightly point out, and I've had the same concern for months since I've seen these guys, and it's mostly boys. They are not licensed drivers. They are not obeying the rules of the road. They may be wearing helmets, but they are clearly in violation of road rules, and they are unlicensed, operating unlawfully. And I'm just waiting for a major accident to happen, because they don't pay attention to stop signs, they don't pay attention to stop lights, and they don't pay attention to speed limits.
Yeah.
So Rita, your question is timely, as we had a meeting this morning of downtown merchants, and the community impact officer, Nicole Vertuli, was there, and we were talking about this issue as well, because I think a few people saw the New Canaan moms. And so those electric bikes that you are seeing, one, they're not allowed on sidewalks at all. And, you know, obviously the drivers need to be wearing a helmet. But also they, you know, we just need to make sure, one, they shouldn't be on any sidewalks. They're regulated both as a motorized vehicle and as a bicycle. So, you know, they have to obey both pieces of the law. And you are right, Mike, it is a police issue. And, you know, we need to, you know, it's hard because these are kids, and, you know, we all want to be sensitive, but I think all of us have run into issues around it. So I would suggest working with the police department, because I don't know that you need to do it through a bylaw and ordinance. I think we have laws on the books that regulate this behavior, and it just needs to be enforced.
Thank you, Deanna. Very much appreciated.
I did go to the police commission over a year ago, just as a resident, with these concerns, and there were several articles that I'd been reading in the New York Times. And oftentimes these bikes or scooters, they buy them and they handle one speed, and they know how to now change them once they get them home to actually make them even faster. And at that time, again, this was over a year ago, but the police had assured me that Nicole was going to really be handling this, and they were going to work on a public awareness campaign. It was in Deanna's newsletter. So that's even ongoing. So they are very much aware of it. And it's a huge concern with so many people. I see it all day, every day.
Thank you for that, Tucker. Anybody else on this particular topic? There's one other, Hillary, do you have something?
Yes, quickly. So the Affordable Housing Committee.
Sorry, Hillary. I had one more issue.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I apologize, Hillary. I had something popped into my head when I was talking to the chief. Oh, yes. So the chief wanted me to convey in our meeting that the next police commission meeting in June will have on their agenda the issue of Conrad Road, Whiffletree, traffic calming issues. So to the extent that anybody out in the community wants to participate in that discussion, whether via public comment or listen, the chief asked that we publicize that agenda item for next month, because we had about a solid half-hour discussion last meeting here on that issue. So I just wanted to make sure that we're aware of it. Anyone wants to show up and pay attention to that or zoom in or something.
Can you remind us?
I'll send out a date time, once their agenda is set, I'll forward that along to everybody, and we can get that out, out into the community, especially with the streets that are in that neighborhood. I know a lot of them have been saying, hey, how can we get involved with this? So now they'll have an opportunity. So with that said, Hillary, go ahead.
Sure. I'll try to keep this brief. So we met on Monday night, our regular monthly meeting. We've continued to do what's kind of like an education session for all of us about the need and some best practices. The management company for Millport and Canaan Parish came and spoke to us at one meeting. The last meeting was mostly about how to get community buy-in on like effective strategies for making sure the community is involved and that we weigh their considerations and different ways to do that. The exciting news, and I'm sure you all know about this, but the both houses of the Connecticut legislature passed a statute that we're waiting on the governor to sign. So we should hold our breath on, how favorable this will be for us. But essentially it will allow an amendment to that statute will allow holdover units. So units that could be occupied at the time of the last moratorium, but you didn't need them to make that number, right? That those holdover units can be used towards another moratorium. So there's a couple of questions. Obviously, like the governor needs to sign the bill before it's effective. It would be effective upon passage, which then raises the question of whether it affects the lawsuit that's pending between New Canaan and the Department of Housing about the last rejection of our moratorium. If all goes our way, let's say the lawsuit goes away because it's been mooted by this legislation. Can you go close that door? And if that's been mooted, then our strategy for how many units we would need to get the next moratorium changes dramatically. And the question is whether we still go for a large development, because then we can then hold over units again for another moratorium if that's our goal. Or do we try to play small ball? So a lot of things should come into focus in the next, couple of weeks, I would say. Also, what will come into focus is that on May 22nd, we should receive a decision from the Department of Housing about our current pending moratorium application, which did not use holdover units. So hopefully that is approved. We can move forward. We'll see what happens with that lawsuit. And then we will continue to scout sites and work out the financing to do another 100%, hopefully, affordable housing development. And I'm on the subcommittee for site selection. So we're meeting again in a couple of weeks. We meet monthly as well. And we're moving right along.
Excellent
Any
work.
questions? Sorry, I was just trying to get that quickly.
No, that was excellent. Thank you for the update. Any questions for Hillary on that topic? No? Okay. All right, that concludes our committee reports. And just a reminder, as I say, I think probably oh, Penny, go ahead.
I have something.
Yes, anything else? Penny, please, go right ahead.
Everybody has a to-do list that you maintain at home.
Yes.
Well, I hit my to-do list during my surgical home confinement. And on that list was the town council needs a banner for the parade.
That's right. No one knows who the heck we are. It's like a bunch of people that jumped in the front of the line or just trotting along.
So I have come up with a design. And I have been in and out of town hall. Pam probably doesn't want to have another email from me because to get the town logo does not have enough DPIs, which is dot per inch. And I'm kind of out of my tech knowledge. And my resident graphic designer is in Florida with all of his computer techniques. So if we have any tech assistance and don't have to use my design if you don't like it, but I did one.
Well, I love it.
Okay. He has we all have access to the buildings in that offense, okay.
Rita looks like she.
Rita, go ahead.
Well, I was going to offer my Canva experience, which I would be happy to create from a marketing perspective, I can create what's called like a creative asset to print. The problem is we do need to have a logo that has the right DPI. That would be the only thing that would be missing, but I could actually create something that we could then print.
Yeah, because the town one that they sent me is only 116 and the site I was using needs 360.
Yeah, you need a higher, it's a higher resolution.
Right, I know, and it's got. To have
I'm sure Tucker can help us with the higher resolution.
I didn't even know about. You'd be impressed that I know all this stuff.
Love
now.
it, Penny.
Yeah, very good.
21st century.
But why don't I just pass this down and see if
Wait,
you
should Rita, should you talk
you
to
like
Russ
it. If
to
you don't
get
like
that
it, you don't have to like it.
DPI? I've never used that.
Yeah, I can. Well, no, I can figure out how to get a high res logo, and if Penny, you send me the design you'd like or whatever, I mean,
okay.
Yeah, who would be printing this?
Well, you've got to go online and get a site there. There's a site that I've been using.
Because I have a printer who could print it. It wouldn't cost that much at all. How would
it's got to be 6 feet wide,
yeah.
And
yeah.
All right, why don't we talk?
We can talk offline. I'm happy to help you. It's not hard. I could definitely do it. It's very turnkey. You need a couple things and we could get it done.
Okay.
Can I ask a weird question just quickly? Like, the font of that, is it Avatar? Is that the font? because the young people have a joke about that, so that we might just want to think about the.
Yeah, we cannot use Avatar.
That's my expertise. Yeah, sorry.
I have a 16-year-old. I know that joke.
But we might want to talk about the font. Rita, it's your ball for that.
You were so right, Jen.
Sorry, it's a thing. It's a thing.
I vote for something dull, old-fashioned, and traditional.
Well, I just didn't want it to be.
Yeah, thanks for thinking of it.
Flat and uninteresting.
That's a great
This is like
it needs to have a little energy to it.
I love it.
It's gonna move.
I love it, Penny.
Weather resistant, weatherproof. It's that rubberized plastic kind of stuff that was.
It wasn't going to be
up at
plastic. It
Mayfair.
was going to be fabric because
fabric.
then it
Okay.
moves in the wind.
All right.
That's a great idea, Penny. Thank you for
Thank you
taking
so
the
much.
charge. Rita, thanks for pitching in on that. And I think we'll have a beautiful banner for Memorial. Okay, so, Hillary, go right ahead.
Just a quick note. I wanted to thank, on the record, everybody involved in the Mayfair. It was a fantastic weekend. I was there Friday night and Saturday. Special shout out to Eric, who I heard making announcements and working super hard. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. It was a great, great weekend.
I wasn't allowed to go because my 16-year-old didn't want me there, but I heard it was great.
Yes, Mariah Carey, for sure. Well, no, it's a classic New Canaan event, and it was a smashing success. My kids loved it. Okay, looks like we're done. The only thing, just again, reminder, and I'll probably say it at the end of every meeting, stay engaged, watch the first selectmen's meetings, watch Board of Finance when you can, just, constantly stay in the loop. That's how we do it. When our agenda comes out, if you have, read it that day when Tucker sends it. If you have questions, reach out to me, Christina, Hillary, anybody if you need more information. The more informed we are when we walk in here, the more efficient and productive we will be. So, and I think you're all doing that, so keep it up. All right, with that said, a motion to adjourn. Penny moves, second. Kim, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.